Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam, and this is Talk with the Titans. Oh, man. Family. Oh, my gosh. Have we got a show for you today? We have got my brothers locked in the building. We've got Adam Deen. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Adam Deen is in the building. We've got Gabs. We've got my Shia brother, Raza, in the building as well. And we're going to be talking about knowing God, the nature of God, the ability to reason and know what we do know, kind of like epistemology. We're going to go into a little bit of epistemology tonight. We've got so much in store for you, but of course, what I would love for you guys to do, as I always ask you guys to do, is just hit the like button. Hit the like button, baby. Let us know that you're here to support Titans TV. Let us know if you're here to support Gabs. Let us know if you're here to support Raza. If you're part of my Shia community, I know you're hitting the like button straight away. Salute to my Shia brothers. Ya Ali all the way. And of course, we've got the main man himself. We've got Adam Deen in the building. Oh, man. So, I'm going to actually introduce Adam Deen in a hot second. For those of you guys don't know Adam Deen, yeah, I believe Adam Deen is part of like the Quilliam Foundation or the Quilliam Institute. He is absolutely phenomenal. I first got introduced to him. We was there at Speaker's Corner, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is kind of like new. This is like, what? Hold on, you said what? It's like a breath of fresh air, completely different way of actually viewing Islam. He said a very famous quote that I'm going to repeat. Okay, he said to Sarah, "You may have debated a lot of Muslims, but you have yet to engage with Islam." All right, that's what my brother said. So you already know, yeah. Over here at Talk with the Titans, yeah, our key, tagline is. Let's see if I know. Do you guys know my tagline? Do you guys know my tagline? Every time when Speaker's Corner Titans TV comes on, it's dun, 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 boom. Thought-provoking media. Thought-provoking media. And that's why I love the brother Adam, because his whole thing, yeah, is about he set up like something called the Deen Institute and literally teaches Muslims to think critically. Okay, he's teaching critical thinking skills, and this is what I love, because this is what I hope, my ambition and dream for Titans TV is to get people to think and to think critically. I couldn't care less what religion you belong to, which ideology you belong to, which political spectrum, side of the spectrum do you belong to. All I want you guys to do is simply to think. That's the most important thing. And my brother, this is what he deals with, and you already know there's so much more I can say about the brother, but I'm just going to quickly get him in and let's get the show started. So, brother Adam, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, man. And all of a sudden your camera has gone down.
Sadly, it just turned off for some reason. I don't know what's happening there. Yeah.
We're both having the same problem. My camera is gone. I'm using my my camera off my laptop right now. It's all gone to pot. But yeah, let me get you involved in the conversation right now. This was like your first time back at Speaker's Corner in a long time. I want to know, what is your first impressions?
Well, yeah, I probably sort of recall going there like 20 years ago, but I can honestly say it's a bit of a circus at the moment. It's just a lot going on, and a lot of the attention actually is on Speaker's Corner. So even more of a reason to engage in that arena, if you like.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So you got involved with, like, soon as you landed. Let me know. Who did you speak with? Who did you dialogue with? Who did you debate? How did the people respond to you? Let me know.
Yeah, so it was an off chance. I had a Sunday off and I arrived. And the first person I spoke to was a lady that thought that she had the sign of God on her right hand. She said that she had a skull in between her two veins on her right hand. So that was a really, really interesting conversation. I couldn't see the skull, but she was really sure that she could. But very nice lady and everything. But yeah, we just had a quite long conversation about that. And then in the corner of my eye, I saw Sarah. And Yeah, yeah, and he was having a conversation about subjective beliefs and this sort of thing, and I thought I'd interject, and I said to him, you know, and I started speaking to him about these ideas, about how we hold our beliefs and the difference between being objective and subjective and all this sort of stuff. And I think it caught his attention, actually. It caught his attention, and that's where it kicked off. That's where we had quite an in-depth conversation about what he was saying and what I was saying, and we had a good dialogue, which unfortunately that first half an hour was not uploaded. I don't know why. And then what you see afterwards is sort of half an hour down the line.
Okay.
Actually, and then after Sarah, I spoke to a chap called Anwar, if I'm not mistaken. A really, really long conversation, almost an hour, on the if God has a hand. Yeah, which is a bit bizarre. And then I spoke to Mohammed Hijab, and he was asking me questions about, you know, what I'm doing and the organization I work for and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was an eventful day.
Wow. So let me know, which one was your you know, I want to say favorite, but more to the point, which one was the more enriching conversation?
Most definitely the one with Sarah. I actually really enjoyed that conversation. It was because I felt that we were sort of covering new grounds, whereas the other people that I've spoken to, it's pretty much the same old thing, and there's no kind of real dialogue as such. It's almost, you know, a monologue with the other people that I spoke to, even the lady with the skull on her hand. But yeah, so it was an interesting conversation with Sarah. It was very passionate, so that was very good. He's a very passionate guy. But yeah, I think that one was probably the most enjoyable one, I have to say.
Excellent. You know, you said you have been watching Speaker's Corner for a little while. You know, let us know. Like, I don't know, man. You said you've been tuned in with us, man. Let us know. How do you think we've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of watching from afar, actually, for the last probably 4 or 5 months. 4 or 5 months. I've been, you know, all of the sort of sagas and the with the guys with the Speakers called the Muslims, and, you know, the MMA challenges, you know, all of those things. I've been like watching from afar, and yeah, it's really, really crazy, some of the things, and watching it, I'm just thinking, like, Muslims and non-Muslims, the way that they argue, it's just ridiculous. Some of the things that they argue, it's really poor argumentation. And one of the things that really, really annoyed me is the way that the Muslims behaved. I mean, where is it in the Sunnah that if you can't challenge someone's ideas, that you challenge them to an MMA fight? I mean, where is it that you get to that stage? I mean, doesn't that completely reinforce the kind of Muslim stereotype that he resorts to violence when he can't engage with you intellectually? I mean, regardless if it's in a it's a charity match or if it's legal, the point is that you're resorting to violence because you can't beat someone in an intellectual argument. And I think, and I think there is something quite toxic about the environment. Look, you know, talking and debating is a dangerous area because one's ego is exposed and it can get the better of them. What having cameras does there, it amplifies that. And it creates a very toxic environment, and people kind of lose focus of why they're there. They're there not to show that they're right. They're there to discover truth. And that is regardless if you're Muslim or non-Muslim. And that gets lost somehow. And it gets lost because cameras are there, egos there, all of that sort of stuff. People are watching, and it becomes, what I really, really, really was disgusted by the way that some of these Muslims behave was like as if there was some kind of gang. You know, our boy's right because he's our boy. He's not right because he's actually right. He's right because he's part of our gang, and we will try to choose sides according to if he's part of if he subscribes to our views, and it's just the behavior it's atrocious. It really, really is disappointing. And Muslims are supposed to be an example, and yet we see them acting like thugs. I'll give you an example. Tan. I watched some videos with Tan, who's no longer in the country, if I'm not mistaken. And he was quite an aggressive person in terms of his views, but does it make sense to threaten the guy, to be abusive to the guy? I mean, clearly this guy had been mistreated by Muslims. If you focused on that rather than the things that he was saying about the outlandish stuff he was saying about Islam, and dealt with his psychological issues, I think perhaps Tan wouldn't be the same Tan that we saw. And I saw this one chap, and he was threatening him. He's a masked guy. Can't remember his name. But the way that he was treating him, it was just, he'd be ashamed of himself. And then 2 weeks later, he started complaining that someone hit him or threatened him. I mean, I've been watching all of this stuff, and when you're not in it, you can see how frustrating the situation is. But yeah, sorry, I've been going on a bit, but yeah, go ahead.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I think a lot of our audience member are literally feeling the same way you're feeling. We're feeling the same pain. Trust me on that. We're feeling the same pain. You know what? Yeah, I would love to be right now. Okay, kind of like a fly on the wall. Of course, we are not there. We didn't have the cameras or our cameras actually on whilst you and Sarah was having the debate or having the discussion, about how you came to know things or how, reasons and so forth. It is a very, philosophical conversation you two was actually having. Could you give us a recap of the conversation and, kind of explain your point of view or where you was coming from?
Firstly, I need to give Sarah credit. Credit should be given where credit is due. I mean, he really did run circles around the Muslims. I mean, he really did. And that was what was really interesting. I mean, and they became more and more, and I would say the Salafi Muslims there, if you want to be accurate, but more and more frustrated as it went on. The more people he spoke to, the more that group became frustrated. And it was very, very interesting watching that. But in terms of what we spoke about, what I wanted to address with Sarah was his ideas about subjectivity. That in some sense, he admits that we had a conversation. He admitted that he was deluded. We first established that he could be deluded, and then we established that he was deluded, and that what he said was that the key thing was that even though he's deluded, that his position in holding that he knows that is deluded, what I wanted to explain to him, it is not the same as someone who believes they're right and doesn't know they're deluded. They're not equal. Someone who says that they are deluded and knows that they're deluded, meaning that they believe in something when the weight of evidence is against it, is in a far worse position than someone who believes something is true but is actually wrong about it. That, I think, it's a very nuanced point. And the reason that I wanted to make that point, because when he debates with religious people, he somehow thinks that he's on the same level, but he's not. He's actually one notch down. And that's what I wanted to discuss. Now, in terms of, sorry, yes.
I just want to quickly stop you real quickly. I just want to shout out Soko Films. Soko Films was the guy who actually, well, JC wasn't the guy who actually filmed you. It was another guy, but they're still part of the So-Called Films team. And So-Called Films is here right now inside of the chat section, always lending his support. Hence, I always give back my support regardless. Yeah, this is my Christian family. So my Christian audience members, if you haven't already subscribed to So-Called Films, please go over to So-Called Films and check out the wonderful work he does with Bob the Builder. And, you know, of course, he films other stuff as well. But he has actually filmed the debate or discussion that you guys were having, okay?
Right.
And he's saying that he will literally upload that. When you're going to upload that So-Called Films, I'm going to upload that video tomorrow. That's what So-Called Films is saying. So we're going to be in for a treat. We're going to actually see the extended footage. We're going to see the exclusive footage that we all got to miss. And it's all going to be on So-Called Films. So if you haven't already subscribed to So-Called Films, hit the subscribe button on his channel, hit the bell icon, and you will be abreast with all of the new videos coming out on So-Called Films. Yeah. Salute to my brother. But anyway, sorry, let me get you to continue.
Yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate that. And I think, and Sarah, you know, again, credit to him. He has taken to task some of the Muslims at the park because they're using terms that they're not actually familiar with, and they're misusing words. Like when you say something like, "Can you prove God?" You know, "I can prove God." You know, these are ridiculous terms to use because, you know, in sort of religious philosophy and people that are engaged in sort of an academic level, they would never use the word proof. They would never use that word proof. So Sarah has been right in terms of taking these people to task, because there are, in actual fact, in philosophy, there are very few things that you can actually prove, you know, in an axiomatic way, like, you know, like 1 + 1 is 2. There are very few. And then this moved on to another discussion that we had was, you know, how we hold on to our beliefs. Just bear me 1 second. Kalam, if you just want to just take over for a sec, 1 second.
Definitely. Yes, this is going to be a very, very interesting show. I can't wait. I know Adam is a bit pressed for time. He has warned me about that. So do, excuse him for this the moment being. We actually have got Rob in the building. Rob, Speakers Corner UK. I know you want to get it in today. Can I just get you to say hello and let our audience know that you are present?
Hey, Kalam and the rest of the panel. Good evening, guys. How are you guys keeping? I did actually see the discussion with, well, the part that was uploaded with Adam and Sarah. And I have to say, actually, obviously, I normally agree with Sarah, but I did find that Adam was making points. Although I'd have to say it wasn't clear to me, because obviously I haven't seen the video prior to that Adam managed to get Sarah to define what he means by deluded, because as Adam said, delusion is believing something, you know, against all evidence. But later on, I'm listening to Sarah and he's talking about, okay, I believe things, but I can't prove it. To me, that's not deluded. So it wasn't clear to me that the definition of deluded was clearly articulated. But if in fact Sarah says, hey, I believe it, and I've got no good reasons to believe it, then I think Adam's point has got validity. Because if somebody's, because that's essentially being irrational or unreasonable, saying I believe something, but I've got no reasons to believe it.
Yeah.
And I think if in fact that's exactly what Sarah said, then I think Adam's position, even though we all disagree with Muslims, he's not saying, I believe this and I've got no good reasons. He's saying, I believe it and I think I've got good reasons. Now, we can challenge those reasons.
Yes.
But that's different from somebody saying, hey, I believe something, but I've got no good reasons.
Right. So can I come in there? So that's a really, hi, Rob. I don't know.
Hi, Adam.
See, what Sarah was saying was something more profound. Because what we did was, when I was talking to him, I said, we established that he could be deluded. And then we said that he was deluded. And how did we conclude that? Because what I said to him was that that he has no evidence to believe in what he believes in. And not just that, but he also had counter evidence to believe in what he believes in. And he said, yes, there is counter evidence. And therefore, and then he said, and I know that. So I said, therefore, you know that you're deluded, which is then self-deception. And that's what you call being deluded. So, and that's what my point was, that his position isn't a position where he's saying, I believe in something I don't have any evidence for. He's saying, I believe in something I don't have evidence for, and I have evidence to the contrary. Now that's called self-deception, which is not the same as a religious person believing in something without evidence. That is not the same as a religious person believing and saying, I believe in just faith. That's actually, Sarah's position is actually far worse. And yeah, sorry, there's someone to come in.
Well, obviously, he's saying, yes, well, I suppose from that point of view, when you say it like that, what he's going is actually you and he are equally deluded. You're just claiming that you're not deluded, but you are. But putting aside, if without any reasons, if none of you gave reasons, then obviously you believe you're not deluded. But he's stating, or you're getting him to state, from what I can tell, that he is deluded. But then he's asking you the questions, and from what I could see, his attempt was to show that in fact you are deluded, or at least there's an illusion rather than a delusion there. Then whichever way you want to go, because you're believing things when you don't have good reasons, although you think you've got good reasons. So maybe that's where it wasn't clear from his point of view.
Yeah. So no. So what he could do is that showed my reasons don't add up, right? But that's very different to me saying, oh, but I'm going to engage in self-deception. That's very different for me to hold on to a view that Sarah critiques. That's very different from having my views critiqued to then saying, but yes, I want to engage in self-deception. Sarah actually at one point said, yeah, I believe in it. Even there's no evidence, even the evidence against it, it makes me feel good.
Right, okay, so that part I didn't hear, but I mean, I've heard him say in the past that he talks to his ancestors. So from his point of view, that's a reason for him to believe. Now, he might not have reasons outside of his subjective view, but presumably that's a reason that he thinks it's because I didn't hear the beginning part. Did he not say that to you?
So
he's not here to defend himself, so I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's not here to defend himself, this is slightly unfair. But what's interesting is that he says he believes in his ancestors, but when I demonstrated to him that there is counter evidence to support that, I explained to him that when you talk about subjective experience, yes, there is an experience happening within one's body, but you are attributing that subjective experience to the external world. So you're saying that there's something outside of the world, or something objective that is a system, if you like, or let's say something beyond itself that is communicating with him, i.e. his ancestors. Now, in a universe that is, let's say, materialistic, that is purely energy and also can be totally grasped by the naturalistic, materialistic lens, there is no room for this quasi scientific, view of ancestors speaking to them. There is no room for this kind of supernatural entity. So you can't hold on to a view which is, I speak to my ancestors, and then hold on to a naturalistic, materialistic world. Because
I'm not. Okay, hang on a second, Adam. But I'm not convinced that he's entirely naturalistic. Or if he is, then I think, like myself, potentially, if I'm claimed to be naturalistic, then I will encompass everything within the universe. And if it turns out that in fact spirits exist and they just we are unable to detect them through our normal senses every day, or the science can't detect them, that doesn't mean they don't exist in the universe. And if they did exist, it just means that it's a natural phenomenon that we haven't yet explained. So I'd be careful of suggesting that he's a empiricist or just a physicalist in that sense. But if he's a naturalist that says, hey, my ancestors are energy, and in fact they're out there in some undetectable way that science can't detect, but I'm able to detect them through some kind of telepathy or something, then I think he's got a point there. He can't demonstrate it, but you can't dismiss it with what you just said.
No, but well, if someone appeals to science to argue that the universe is,
but he's not.
No, he does, because he speaks about quantum mechanics and that the universe came into existence out of a vacuum. So you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't use science to prop up your beliefs and then discard them when it doesn't fit with your ideas.
But how is he discarding it though? If quantum mechanics is true, that doesn't discard.
That's my point, Rob. Your ancestors. That's my point. He can't describe the ancestors in a world where he makes sense of by using scientific methods. You can't have your cake and see. Look, he has a problem with the idea that God has brought the universe into existence, right? In the, I've heard his other videos, in the how. Okay, the how God brought the universe into existence is quite a complicated thing to discuss, right? Now, the how of how the ancestors actually communicate, but he would still hold on to those views and still believe them, even though it's contrary to a scientific approach to the universe. But then again, at the same time, he's using a scientific approach to make sense of his worldview. So you can't have both.
Okay, but hang on a moment. That's what I'm challenging on your opinion. You're saying he's bringing a scientific approach to the ancestors. He can bring a scientific approach to the universe.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying his worldview and how he makes sense of the world in terms of the universe, its origins, is scientific. And that's fine. But then when you start incorporating theories and claims of almost supernatural entities or spiritual entities, where do spirits fit into a naturalistic, materialistic world or a scientific world?
Okay, well, as I've just said to you, it could well be that science has yet to explain a certain conglomeration of energy that has a unique characteristic that we are unable to detect yet, but is still part of the natural world and is able to communicate with certain human beings. Can you disprove that? Because if you can't, then that could fit into a naturalistic world that we have yet to explain.
Yeah, when someone's dead, they're dead.
Well, obviously not according to Sarah and according to some other people.
Yeah. But according to science, when someone's dead, they're dead.
That's as far as science has got at the moment. Yes?
Yes.
From Sarah's point of view, I'm actually trying to argue on Sarah's behalf here. So Sarah may argue, or I would argue on his behalf.
Yeah, but according to science, when you're dead.
But if there is a soul or something else, then science is yet to come into contact with that. And Sarah's claiming.
Wait. You said something there very interesting. You said science is yet to come into contact with it. So that means at present, when it hasn't, therefore there is counter evidence to the view that ancestors exist. Therefore, if he says yes, there is counter evidence, which he did conclude on the day, therefore he's engaging in self-deception. And that's
but hang on a moment. You'd have to demonstrate. No, he's saying that this is just my belief. Science can't yet demonstrate it, but I believe it anyway.
Wise man proportions his belief according to the available evidence.
Okay, but then you guys should be doing the same thing, shouldn't you?
Absolutely. Now I could be, no, but you see, what I'm trying to see, we are talking about the nature of holding beliefs, not the content. You see, it could well be that all of my views on Islam and God, it could be false. But I do not say that, yes, I believe there's more evidence not to believe in God, but I believe in God because it makes me feel right and makes me feel good. That's self-deception. And that's what I was critiquing with Sarah. Now, it may well be that the ancestors are real, and it may well be that he is right, but he doesn't, in the philosophical sense, what he lacks is warrant. It's called justification for your beliefs. He does not have a justification. In fact, he has the opposite. He has a counter evidence to suggest that he shouldn't believe in what he believes in. And on top of it, he then falls apart on what's called moral integrity, because he actually says he thinks he knows he's wrong, and therefore he believes it because it makes him feel good. But we don't believe in things because it makes us feel good. We believe in things because they're true. And that
well, obviously I agree. It's things that are true or likely to be true. But clearly he seems to believe that the ancestors are true, even though he doesn't have good enough warrant according to you. But again, we're talking behind his back, so maybe he could defend it himself.
We have to be very, very technical of what we're saying. It's not good enough warrant. He has the opposite of warrant. He has every reason not to believe because the evidence suggests that he shouldn't believe it. And what he look, at the end of the day, look, Rob, I mean, this is not your...
Well, I agree he shouldn't believe it, but he does believe it, and we can't rule it out. And he's admitting that he's got very little warrant, but you can't say he's got no warrant.
No,
if
you're missing the point. Look, for example, I could have very little warrant. I could say, look, I believe in God, right? because, you know, there's got to be an explanation for everything, right? That's a warrant, right? And it's a very poor warrant, but there's a warrant. But if I said, I should believe in everything, and also there's also an explanation for everything naturalistically or materialistically, but I'm still going to believe it because it makes me feel good, that's not someone who has a little warrant. That's the opposite of someone having warrant. Do you see that?
Did Sarah say he's a naturalist? Because I'm not sure if he is.
Well, he may not have used that term, but he argues like a naturalist and a cold scientist.
Okay, so we'll have to ask him on that point, won't we? I mean,
Whew. Hold on, let me just pause it right there. This conversation is on the next level. Wow. This is what we've been missing all these months, all these years, yeah, at Speaker's Corner. I'm so grateful to have Adam, Deen, and Rob on with us right now, yeah, discussing these types of topics. Okay, I definitely do want to get everybody else involved. Adam, if you can get your camera working again. As soon as I came on, as soon as you actually went live, it went off. So I have no idea.
We want to see the nur of your face, bro. The nur on your face.
Exactly. Trust me, we really do. And Rob, if it's possible as well, I know you got that excellent gaming chair. You just come on, man. People, start showing your faces. Let's get on here. You know, I'm going to go back into that conversation. I know we've got Raza in the building as well. Can I just get you to salute for our Shia brethren to know that you're here representing?
Ali, thank you, Kalam, for having me on your show as always. Bro, that was a breath of fresh air, hearing these lot going back to back. You know what, Kalam, if you can, I'm just going to put it out there, bro. You might want to get Sarah on for this one, bro.
I know.
I don't know what Rob is doing right now, but boy, Adam's hair and boy, the way they were going on, it seems like an intellectual conversation. We've been missing out on this, bro. So, honestly speaking, it really is a breath of fresh air to hear these lot talk like this.
Definitely is. If I can get you guys as well, yeah, please, all the audience members who are tuned in right now, can I get you guys just to hit the like button? That's if you like the show. If you don't like the show, then don't hit no button or hit the dislike button, whatever the case is. But hit a like button. Let everybody else know that we're live right now. We've got Adam Deen with us. We've got Raza in the building with us. We've got Speaker's Corner UK with us. That's Rob in the building with us. We've got Hassan in the building. We've got Adam Deen in the building. Gabs in the building. Saracen in the building. So everybody is here, and we've still got more people that want to get on and trying to get on as well. We've also got Buddha Bing in the building as well. So please, if you want to get on, all you have to do is simply email me or contact me the best way you know how to contact me. Okay, family? Let me quickly open up to Hassan as well. Hassan, talk to me, my brother. I just need you to unmute your mic. I know this is like the first time you've come on, but unmute your mic, King.
Let him figure it out, innit?
Can I quickly ask something, Callum? Adam is here, and I know his time is short. I wonder if I could be tiny bit cheeky, if I may, and invite him at some point to come and join us on the Gin and Tonic, where we specifically critique Islam, because I'm looking for people like this. And same with Raza. We keep inviting Muslims. They don't come on, and obviously, unfortunately, we end up talking to the, let's say, the more fundamentalist ones at Speaker's Corner and such like, and I prefer to speak to some Shia and people like Adam. So if they're available on a Friday, then I'd love to have that.
Thanks for the invitation, Rob.
Awesome.
I'm gonna just come out for 2 seconds. So you can shut my camera. So,
yep, no problem.
Adam, can you hear me?
I can, and that's why I'm gonna run away.
He's got to go away for about another 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'll be back.
His camera.
Can I ask Rob a question, please?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Hassan.
Brilliant. Could I ask one thing from Adam, please? If it's still possible.
He's not here at present, so you may just want to hold that question.
Okay.
Until he comes back in.
All right. Just for a little heads up on this one. I spoke to Adam when Sarah was there, and to be honest with you, I found what he'd said somewhat baffling. I mean, he's got a very new stance on Islam, like from basically the very beginning. It doesn't tally up. It's like as if he wants to start a new religion of some description that resembles Islam.
I would love to hear Adam's views. I need to hear Adam's views.
Actually, that's not actually true, because I follow what Adam follows. me and Adam have we have one teacher called Sheikh Atabek Shukruf, may Allah bless him, and we follow the Hanafi school of way. Now, in the Hanafi school of way, we don't take for our first sort of evidence is the Quran. The Hadith comes secondary, so we don't all this stuff like about monkeys stoning each other, killing people with stoning them to death. We question stuff like that. Second thing, in the Hanafi principle, we don't believe the law remains static in the 7th century. We believe it develops. Although modern day Hanafis are slightly different, the Deobandi and the Barelvis, which make up a lot of the Muslim population in the UK, they may not believe that, but the traditional Hanafis, they've always said it is linked to ethics and it links to how society develops. So when people say stuff like that about Adam, or I know Sarah mentioned it as well, I've never heard of a Muslim like this, it's because in Turkey, there are many people that think like us. Many. Mustafa Aykul is a great example.
Saracen, I get that. That I get, brother. But there's things that
can I pause you right there?
Your Muslim brothers
can I pause you right there?
Have a common purpose and denominator.
I just need to pause Hassan right there because I know I've got Adam's wonderful face just shining with that Noor, just to come back in again. So Adam, I think somebody's actually asked in the comment section, are you trying to reform Islam?
Okay, so reform is a very emotive term and it upsets a lot of Muslims. What I would say is that I'm trying to reform the tools that we use to understand Islam. That is what I'm trying to do. That's what I would like. And in actual fact, it is not something new. It is actually reconnecting to Islam's original message and also its heritage. Unfortunately, what we understand Islam to be today is very much a byproduct of history and politics. It is not necessarily what Islam was in the 7th century. And it's very different. For example, when we think of 4 madhabs, why is there only 4?
Where's the Shias going?
as in Sunnis. Even within the Sunnis, that we say there's 4 madhabs. Why 4? Why? Because of political reasons. Some madhabs had dominance over others. There are many schools of thought that actually died out. The reason they died out, that they didn't have people in power to spread them. See, and what we know of Islam today is very much a consequence of its history, not so much about its actually message, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to get a charger. I'll give you 2 seconds.
No problem.
Wow.
Raza, you gonna take over from there? I'm in complete agreement with everything he just said there.
I'm just trying to, what it is with Adam. I'm reading him and I'm listening to him because I've heard a lot about him. So I'm actually, trying to hear Adam's point of view, because you sometimes you hear a lot about someone, people misrepresent people, and to be honest, right now what I'm hearing of Adam is just, I would agree on everything he's saying. He just mentioned about the 4 madahib. There was schools like I know Kalam, this is one of your favorite scholars, Ibn Jarir al-Tabari. He was actually an independent mujtahid, and his school died out. Why? Because he never had the government support. Imam Tahawi was considered al-mujtahid al-mutlaq, meaning an independent mujtahid. His school died out. So there's definitely that element of your present is shaped by your past, and to know your present, you need to know your past. I think it's ignorant to believe that suddenly you've got a religion and suddenly it came down from the heavens and it was all formulated in one day. Religions develop over time. So sometimes when people say, well, it's clear, it's black and white, this is how religion is. That's dogma. That's theology. It develops. It's impossible. I was saying to Adam, this conversation about, all of the Sahaba believed in one thing. And just these kind of kalam, I'm not generally talking about the Sahaba, I'm just saying general kind of concepts like ijma, consensus, kalam, I know we've been discussing that as well, is that to believe that everything was agreed upon, this is one of the biggest, I'm not saying some things weren't agreed upon, but when you make it out like, everything's agreed and this is the book of dogma and everyone must believe this is all formulation. And it's because of this, I think Adam's saying a lot of stuff. Adam, just a quick question. Would you say maybe, in terms of what you said, do you take a strong liking or a strong strong liking towards objectives of the Sharia, meaning something like maqasid the Sharia rather than, you know, going by the strict literal ruling.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is that
just to interrupt, and for the non-Muslim viewers, al-maqasid of Sharia means the objectives of the Sharia, meaning is when you rule by the objective of the Islamic law rather than, oh, the text says this. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So rather you're ruling by what Islam wants. So Islam wants mercy, it wants peace, it wants justice. So you rule according to that rather than, oh, if someone steals, you got to cut their hand. Do you get my point? Yeah, go on, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is touching upon the conversation when we were having that dialogue with Sarah, and he said to me, "Do you believe in Sharia law?" And I said no, and he was shocked. And the reason I said that is I don't believe that Islam stipulates law. What Islam stipulates is value. So Islam is its whole raison d'etre is that it wants to implement justice and also for the public good. Now, how that is apprehended within a particular time is very, very different. You know, something justice applied in the time of the 7th century Arab with its social historical context would be very different to today. So
is that what we call Adam trajectory hermeneutics?
Yes, yes. And where
you hear that? You hear that, Kalam? Yeah, you hear my long words, big words there, yeah? Go on, Kalam.
Yeah. So where you see where someone like myself, I would consider myself a rationalist Muslim, or an authentic Muslim, if you like, in terms of my theology. What I would say is that where I would differ with, let's say, what we call sort of a Puritan, or an example of that is Wahhabis. What they would do is they take the model of the principles of Islam in 7th century and apply the model in today, rather than actually taking the principle and applying the principle.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'll give you like a really trivial example. Salafis will be walking around with sticks, brushing their teeth.
Miswak, yeah.
Yeah, miswak, right? Why? Because the Prophet did. But if the Prophet was alive today, he would be using Colgate.
Yeah, trajectory.
That's a very trivial example that I'm giving. Is what they do is they take they don't understand that Islam is about the principle behind the action.
The objective.
Yeah, we call it maqasid al-Sharia.
Yeah.
So the objectives of rather, it's like, I always use the example of the Bruce Lee movie where he says to the student, look, and what the student does, he looks at his finger and he hits him in the head and said, "You're missing the heavenly glory." He said, look where the finger is pointing, not to the finger. What Wahhabis and Salafis do, they look at the finger.
Yeah.
So when God says do something, they ignore why God said it, but they concentrate is what he said.
So Adam, let me add something to what you just said, Adam. So when Sarah asked you the question, do you believe in Sharia? Would it be an unfair answer if you had said, yeah, I do, but just not of the understanding that you think? Because Adam, for Muslims, that's why they sometimes go like, oh, Adam's trying to change. You believe in Sharia, Adam. It's just you believe that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, firstly, at Speaker's Corner, you do not have time to go through nuance.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to adjust the way that you communicate in that environment. If I said I believe in Sharia law, what do you think Sarah was going to say?
Game over.
It's all game over. So I said no, because I know in his mind he doesn't understand Sharia as I do. So I just said no.
He has that possible perception of Sharia, which is let's start stoning people, which is basically, that's what everyone thinks.
Yeah. So Sharia is not
Wahhabi Sharia.
Yeah. So Sharia is actually, in actual fact, it's very inaccurate to talk about, for example, the hudud, the punishments. That's a very small a part of Sharia. Sharia is the entire body of Islamic injunctions. But for me, in terms of society and how Sharia comes up, Sharia is values. And we know that they are values, or we have good reasons to think they're values, because there's a verse in the Quran that says that that Allah gave Sharia to different types of Sharia to different prophets. Now, how is, if Allah's law is fixed, how is Allah giving different Sharias to different prophets? Why? Because it's not fixed. Because it adjusts and it apprehends.
Let me be a bit let me play a bit of devil's advocate on you. A little bit, Adam, just a little bit. If I was on that mind frame and I would say, yeah, so Sharia's changed for previous prophets, but then the ultimate Sharia and the most perfect form came upon our prophet, and then that will last to the day of judgment.
But how does that undermine what I'm saying?
Because you were saying, yeah, because Sharia does change, and that's why previous prophets had different Sharias, and then obviously therefore Sharia can change. And then if I said, yeah, it does change, however, it won't change now because our prophet came with the final Sharia.
Yeah, but firstly, you're conflating two terms, Sharia and Deen, right? And also you're equivocating because you're using Sharia in one sense and also using it as like law. Look, that does not give the example that law can be the same always, or that there was a certain amount of law and laws were kept being added. I'm not saying that there are laws and laws get added. What I'm saying is the laws may not even exist according to the situation, the historical context. Do you see?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Look,
yeah.
What it is that an example of this is I know there's a very big difference in ethics with things and morality, right? But technology, think of it like technology. For example, when those cassette players were out, when they were like the Sony Walkmans, right? They were really, really amazing. It was like groundbreaking, yeah. But imagine using them today. You can use it, right? You think that it was a bit backwards, because it doesn't fit with how people use music. Why? Because people now use music in a very different way than having one cassette, right? Of course. We have many different tunes on, and we use the internet to source it. So it's, in actual fact, what it is that you're taking something that was for a certain time that met its demands and it apprehended the justice, and taking it and applying it to a different environment where it's completely out of place. And that is the problem. Something that was just at the time of the Prophet and purely taking it and plunking it in today's society could be the opposite, which then wouldn't be Islam. It wouldn't be Sharia.
All right, let me just switch it up a little bit. So is there anybody on the panel that has any questions for
can I come in, bro, because I've got to go.
I do.
Yep, no problem. So I'm going to get Saracen to come on first, then I'm going to get Hassan. Is there anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, I've got one as well.
Okay, and then Rob. So Saracen, go ahead. The floor is yours.
So I'm just going to say, first of all, I have to say before I forget, Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Everyone that's watching.
Mubarak.
And even the non-Muslims out there. Hopefully it's a blessed month and not a month of killing as some Muslims may do.
Fine.
We just hope none of that happens this month. The other thing is Adam's viewpoint is often made out by some Muslims to be unique. I just want to reiterate, it is not a unique position. In fact, in much of the Muslim world, people think like Adam, think like me. It's just we don't go out and we don't get our voices heard. But what's really good, what I find, Adam, is that suddenly the game for the Salafi Wahhabis are changing. Speaker's Corner is changing. You've got new voices like you, me, Raza. You've got people like Kalam. We're changing the game now. We're challenging that dawah, Wahhabi dawah, at the Speaker's Corner. And it's important. But what I would say to you, Adam, is when you come, you need to bring a camera, my brother, because these people will edit your clips, cut bits out, make themselves look like heroes.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's already lost the debate. Apparently.
Oh yeah. You can never win without a camera, bro. You know what I mean? These people, are they really seeking truth? That's the question that you have to ask. So yeah, I want to say that
it happened with me with Tommy Robinson. Actually, I had a really good conversation with him, and he really got really baffled. But I didn't have a camera and he did.
Who,
And
Tommy?
he uploaded a really heavily edited video, and so you're absolutely right. I should have learned my lesson. I didn't.
Yeah, well, I would love to see that again, bro. I definitely would love to see that. The other thing is, before I go, I just want to say, look, I've challenged Ali Dawah's teacher, Muhammad Hijab's teacher, Sheikh Mohammed, and I've said to, you know what, you lot are representing Islam at the corner. Yeah, let's have it out. Sheikh Atabek is up for discussion.
Guys, are we going to take this in turns or not?
No, bro, don't interrupt. Just stick to the rules, man, please. Yeah. So I've said to Muhammad Hijab's teacher, Ali Dawah's teacher, let's have it open. Let's have a discussion on this, about this Sharia. Does it remain static? Because you lot are giving our religion, our Prophet ﷺ, a bad name, but they don't want any piece of it. Haitham Haddad don't want a piece of Sheikh Atabek and stuff. So because they know they'll be exposed, and we'll get that message worldwide. So if any of the brothers are from the Salafi are listening, that challenge is still out there. You want to do it in Ramadan? After Ramadan, we'll hire a hall. We can do it. We're going to do it respectfully. And we're going to discuss these issues about FGM, Sharia remaining static, killing apostates, stoning people to death. We're all up for having that discussion. So I hope you guys don't run away. Adam, I know you're going to be on our team, right? Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Put Adam right into it.
I'm not very good at MMA fighting, though. Yeah.
No. The other thing I'd like to say as well, Rob was on the panel as well. Rob, I want you to watch the debate between Adam, Deen, and Bill Warner, who's one of the biggest Islamophobes in America. Adam completely banged him out, worse than he banged out Sarah this week. So I had to get that jab in there.
Yeah,
No homo.
so I must say to you,
No homo.
this use of the word Islamophobe doesn't do you any favors. So I would encourage you not to use these made-up words. It just makes well, in this case you used it, so it just makes you not look like you're serious. So please avoid using silly words like that.
But no. We believe there is Islamophobia. You might not do, but you guys
can make up stuff. But what I'm saying to you is, just don't do that. If you want to have a serious and you want to be taken seriously, for those of us who don't believe in Islam, stop using words like that. I can just say, and make something up or whatever, and you're not going to be happy with that. So don't bring up words that the Muslim Brotherhood, just dreamt
then
up.
Stop moaning that we start using words. Then it's as simple as that.
I thought you guys believed in freedom of speech. Come on, man.
No.
Don't get confused, Saracen, about freedom of speech and critique of freedom of speech.
Where's our moderator?
Exactly. It suits you when you want to use your freedom of speech, but when we want to use our freedom of speech, it's Islamophobe. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay.
Listen, you just got Saracen trolled, both of you. Good night.
I got a quick question, or Adam, or a request for you. I'm not sure.
That's the best that you could do. You're bigging up your mouth when you're all going down on Black Dunya. I've noticed that you've not been down to Speaker's Corner. So before you start bigging your tiny little mouth off, know where you stand on this one. Okay? You're all brave when you're standing up there telling people on how you're going to pound their wife and how their girl was giving you the eyes. Okay? And then you're nowhere to be seen. All right? Before you start shutting up your mouth, Sarah, so know who you're talking to, yeah?
Brother Hassan, I appreciate obviously what you lot are going back to.
Don't bother me. You just call me Hassan, yeah?
All right, cool. Let's just avoid no, I'm not Saracen, I'm Rosa. Let's just avoid bringing up that whole Black Dunya.
Yeah, exactly. So
Hassan.
Let's just get this one thing straight, yeah? When you start going off on one, okay, know where your past was before you know where your future is, yeah?
I'm not Saracen, bro. You're not speaking to Saracen.
I know you're not Saracen. I know exactly who you are, brother. You're the more civilized version of Saracen that's talking now, bro.
Yeah, no, because we don't really want to talk about the whole Black. It's not nice, bro.
Why?
It's not nice.
Because it doesn't suit you. It doesn't suit your narrative, does it? Okay, and let me just get back to Adam, my brother. Okay,
Yeah,
there's a few principles that Muslims believe in. Am I correct in assuming that, Adam? Yeah. Am I assuming right, Adam, that there's a few principles that you guys follow? Yes.
There are a few principles that we follow.
Yes.
Yes.
In Islam, yes. Okay. Could you do me a favor? Because the last thing I want to do is put words in your mouth. I'd rather sort of like hold you into that corner that you put yourself in. What are these principles that you guys believe in to become a Muslim? For example, if I eat pork, sleep with gay people, and then say I'm Muslim would be somewhat of a contradiction. Am I correct in assuming that? Yes.
If your question is, can I still be Muslim? Yes, you can still be Muslim.
Yes. Okay. Now, again, just to get a couple of words out your mouth. Now, what is your principles in you qualifying yourself as a Muslim? Just some ground rules. You know, I don't want you to go like on a 10-hour rant, but just a couple of things. I know your time is short, Adam.
Being a Muslim is basically you affirm that there is a God and that Muhammad is the last messenger. That's what you affirm. That's what makes you a Muslim. It's not the shahada of I won't eat pork.
Yeah. So basically, you can just be a sinful Muslim, isn't it, Adam? You'll just be regarded as a sin. If you do any of those things, you're just a sinful Muslim.
Yeah, I mean, there are some Muslims that believe that, you know, if you don't follow the rules or the commandments, then it kind of puts you in some would say out the fold of Islam. Some would say, which is quite a rare view, but some would say that you're kind of almost like in between. You're in kind of this kind of grey area.
Yeah.
But I follow the view that your actions don't determine your belief. You know, you can say that you're a Muslim, believe in it, and yet be inconsistent with your habits, because people, you know, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're not robots. We don't just follow a program. And namely that program being the information in our minds. We have emotions, and we may sometimes err, even though we believe something else. But in terms of, you know, is someone considered a Muslim, then it all depends on, you know, their affirmation, and all that's required is that you say that Muhammad is that God exists and that Muhammad is his messenger. Now, if you're asking me the question, are you consistent with the ideas of Islam? Maybe you're not consistent in terms of in how you should behave, but that's a separate question altogether.
So presumably then, Adam, you disagree with the Muslims that claim that the previous prophets were Muslims, because they wouldn't have known about Muhammad, right? So that's more of a
prophet. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So presumably you disagree with the sort of, let's just call them the Wahhabi type of Muslims that claim that everybody's a Muslim and all the previous prophets were Muslims.
I disagree. What Islam is not a new religion in that kind of sense. What it is, a continuation of the message that's been coming since the beginning of time. Are we born as Muslims? No, I don't believe that. That's the misinterpretation of a hadith, if I'm not mistaken, about we're born in a state of fitra.
Yes, I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah.
We're not.
So, quick question.
That's okay. Absurd. That's an absurd statement.
Yeah. I mean, that's falsified anyway. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Good. A question for you then on Muhammad. Presumably, then also you don't believe Muhammad is the perfect example to follow either. As in, like, Muslims should follow his exact example of whatever his behaviors were in the 7th century and reflect that today.
Well, not according to some Wahhabis and how they view his behavior. No, it has to be. You know, what we can deem to be his behavior has to be ethical. So if we come across some hadith that is patently unethical, then we would not say that was his behavior. We cannot. It contradicts, you know, holding on to the view that he is the best example for us to live. Now, did he have a human side? Yes, he also had a human side, but I don't think that he would have.
He wasn't human. He was a prophet.
In such a way that would be
getting that bit. He was a prophet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, you stopped there. All right. So one last thing, and then I'll move. You talked about Sharia. Is there anything that, because you and Majid sort of used the term to some of these Muslims, if met, would they accept Sharia? So let me sort of ask you a slightly different question. is there anything in Sharia that you would want to implement, or the word a secular Muslim? In other words, you accept the laws in this country are the best currently available. Not perfect, but certainly better than anything else that is could be implemented currently as a general rule. I don't know if you heard that clearly.
You broke up a little bit halfway, bro.
Oh, sorry.
If he's still Adam's still trying to listen. Adam, can you reply? Adam,
okay, maybe I broke up. Okay, let me try again. Hopefully you can hear me. I'll speak a little bit slower. Is there anything in whatever view of Sharia that implemented over and above Western secular law?
Adam, can you take your mic off, Adam? Yeah, Adam, I think your mic's on still, bro. When you take your mic off, you can carry on. So, bro, you know what it was, bro? Yeah, so you are basically asking, yeah. Let me try, try flow with the conversation, and then obviously Adam wants to jump in because I think this is Adam facing maybe some technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we can hear you now, bro. Yeah, we can hear you.
Right, someone muted me. That wasn't me, by the way. So, right. I don't see this dichotomy. I think the question is wrong. If I've understood you, I don't see this dichotomy of Sharia law, Western law. What I see when I look at law, I look at is it just? See, that's the criteria. It's not is it Islamic, is it Western? I see is it just? That's the criteria in judging something to be Islamic. It's not how do I kind of is it Islamicized? I'm not looking for an Islamicized law. I'm looking for something that is just. That's what defines what something is Islamic. Do you see? So I think there's a false dichotomy in the question. But guys, I think it's the 10 to 12, and
oh damn it,
to make a move. But yeah, it was nice speaking to you guys.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully we can get you on the Gin and Tonic show at some point, and we can have a longer conversation with more time for you to have a chat. Thanks for for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
Can I ask you something really quickly? I'm not sure if I missed it, but would it be possible to come back on Kalam's show next time and just explain a little bit? Oh, he's gone. Oh, damn it.
Sorry, Danish. Danish, don't get him on, bro. We'll get him on just for you, bro.
yeah, man. I was going to ask him if he could come on and explain more about the Quilliam Foundation and what he actually does.
Oh yeah, that's actually, you know what? That should have been actually a key question today. You're right.
Yeah. I'm sort of very interested. I did a bit of a read up on Wikipedia, and it sounds very interesting. Sort of.
The thing is that I'll tell you what it is from a Muslim perspective. Anyway, Megatron, what are you saying, bro? Megan, you right?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah. How is everyone, by the way?
Like in the picture, Megatron, as usual, bro. Zarkin like.
Brother has a very good question.
With Quilliam, yeah, you know what it is? They're a bit stigmatized, brothers. You know what it is? Because the thing is, sometimes, obviously, because of the whole Majid Nawaz and this and that, sometimes they kind of force Muslims into this extreme narrative where they're like, oh, if you believe this, you're extreme. If you believe this, you're extreme. And they kind of do the opposite of what they're there for sometimes, if you get what I mean. So it's like they'll ask you a question where a lot of common Muslims will probably say, yeah, I do believe in that. And then they'll say, oh, well, if you believe in that, you're an extremist. So they sometimes, Majid Nawaz has like a bit of a tendency to do that. And so sometimes the whole foundation of the whole purpose Quilliam Foundation was set up for, they kind of go against the whole essence, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that a lot to Muslims. Yeah.
Yeah, because I sort of read that they were, like you said, they said that there were some extremist ideologies which were indistinguishable from, say, Al Qaeda or ISIS, but they wanted the government to engage more with this ideology, I guess, for sort of purposes of sort of de-radicalization or whatnot.
Yeah, so it can become very, like you're stigmatizing the community, where it's like, you go to a normal Muslim and you say, oh, so do you believe in certain laws of Islam? And the minute he says yes, they're like, well, then you're an extremist. It's kind of like, formulating and, saying this is what you have to believe to not be an extremist, and this is what you have to believe to be an extremist. It's sometimes very dangerous because it can kind of lead to the kind of the opposite of what you want, and it doesn't really help. And they haven't done well like that.
The thing is about the. Sorry.
I was just going to say one more last thing. I was just going to say what I found really interesting about reading about the Quilliam Foundation too was they said that they wanted to take the legal aspect out of Islam, or they wanted to sort of not take it out, but more sort of concentrate on Islam as being a religion and sort of take away the political sort of side or aspect of it, which you know, sort of would move it forward. So yeah, interesting guy, interesting concepts, and obviously, you know, it's like a big think tank which is taken very seriously by the UK government, and yeah, a lot of influence. So you know, amazing to have him on your show, Kalam.
That's right. That's right. Family, you know what? We've had over 250 people tuned in right now, live. I know we've had over 1,000 people coming in and out. But please, can I get you guys to show your love, show your support? You know, I always say, you know, there's ways you can support the show. There's ways you could donate to the show. Of course, you could always hit the super chat button and donate. You can always hit the PayPal or the GoFundMe to donate. But the best way, okay, I would love for you guys to donate to us is just simply by hitting the like button, and then obviously after that is hitting the share button. All you have to do is hit the share button, post this up on Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, Tumblr, wherever else you can, Reddit and so forth, yeah, and let our audience members, or let everybody know that we're here right now live on Titans TV. Okay, so do me that favor, please, family. I would love to get that support in. Saeed Hussein, Kalam, how do I donate? Basically, there's a dollar button that's literally down below. You can click that and then you can donate, or you can go in the description box and you can donate via GoFundMe as well. These are the ways that you can actually donate. If you've got any questions, okay, family, I want to make sure I show you guys the love. All I need you guys to do is simply tag Titans TV, okay? Simply tag Titans TV and post up any question or any comment that you have. If you've got any commentary for Adam Deen, just post it up and I'll read it out. If you got any questions for any of us on the panel, please post it up and I will make sure our panel members, deal with it for us. Okay, so we got Sophia Films here. God is spirit, word, truth, light. When God speaks, God becomes a person. Woo. Are Kalam Muslim? No, I'm not a Muslim. Yo, Kalam, I don't know what that is, G. I don't know what that is. So again, if you got any questions or comments, simply type Titans TV and I'll try to read them out for you guys. Now, let's see who is next on the panel. Okay, we've got Megatron. Who else have we got that wants to go next after Megatron is... I think the next topic I want to get onto is Gabs. Gabs, I know you're ready and raring to go, right? Hopefully you're still here with us. But after I get Megatron on, hopefully you can come on and say your piece. So yes, Megatron, let's get it, my brother.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple of things. The thing is about the Quilliam Foundation, even though what they're doing is really noble and what they're really admirable, but you have to realize they have been a complete and utter failure in the sense that practically every Muslim sect have rejected what they're saying. And so I think what Adam Deen is doing, he's fighting a bit of a lost cause. And also, Saracen brought up that Bill Warner debate that he had, but I watched that debate before and Bill Warner absolutely wiped the floor with him, and I don't know how Saracen said Adam Deen won that debate. And it's just, you've got all of this Islamic text, this hurdle that one has to overcome if they're going to propagate what Adam Deen wants to propagate, and it's almost impossible if you believe that the first three caliphs are the righteously guided. And so, I think what he's doing is really admirable, but it's for him to succeed, I think it's practically impossible.
Do you reckon, Mega, he will be more successful if he just broke away from Quilliam and done his own thing?
Yeah, definitely, man, because as far as I can see is that Majid Nawaz is obviously the fakest Muslim in the world. He's not a Muslim, he just tends to be, and people just see right through him, and then Muslims are just automatically disconnected from him.
Yeah, I think as a Muslim, the minute we hear problem, we kind of run away.
And also, he demonizes, conservative Muslims that hold, Judeo-Christian Muslim beliefs about homosexuality, and he demonizes those people as abhorrent and backwards, and this is just going to cast out millions of people across the country.
100%.
Okay. Raza, we got a question for you, okay, from Rafi Malik. It says here, Times TV, can you ask Raza about the Shia view of predestination or qadr?
Oh, so with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So with predestination and qadr is obviously things that are already written for you. Yeah. So on that basis of God has decreed something for me. So the Shia position tries to tend to be in the middle. When Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, our sixth Imam, was asked this question, he said the situation is not here, but it's not there. So they said, give me an example. The Imam said, get your right leg and put it up. The person put his right leg up. The Imam said, now put your left leg up. He goes, I can't do it. He goes, situations like this. He goes, there's certain things you have control over, and then there's certain things that are written. So I'll give you an example. God knows that I'm going to go sleep today at 12:30. But God knowing that isn't making me do it. So it's in God's knowledge what I'm going to do, but it's God's not forcing me to do it. I'm still acting upon my free will to do it, but God's knowledge doesn't make me do it. Because sometimes it's like, I go out and God forbid kill someone innocent, or I kill anyone. Someone says, oh yeah, well, God wrote it for me. No, God knew you was going to do it. You done it. Don't blame it on God. Do you understand my point? And that's generally the view of predestination, that there's certain things that are out of your control. God is in God's knowledge. However, the action is upon you. Good comes from God, evil comes from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I want to challenge that point.
Yeah. Before you do, because who was next? Actually, we had Megatron asked this question, and then it was Hassan, and then after Hassan, I'm gonna go straight back into Rob, and it's gonna get real peppery. Raza. I apologize. All right, Hassan, go ahead. All you have to do is unmute your mic, King. Unmute your mic.
Yes, my brother, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, just do a thumbs up, and I could see that then, my brother.
Okay.
I'd like to ask any one of you.
If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Let's see if I can actually up your volume, if that's possible. Go ahead, say something. Unmute your mic. Hassan, just unmute your mic. Okay, I can't help you if you're not.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Tell me you can hear me now, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, what I was going to ask is, I know Adam's gone now, yeah? But there's certain things in the Quran, and next time he's here, just pretty please send him it. It's when we were talking with Sarah with him, he mentioned basically some bizarre facts that there's certain aspects that you have to believe. Just there's no two ways about it. You have to believe it. That is in the Quran that you've got to follow. Do you understand me? And when I did ask him those certain questions, he goes, no. You're like, my brother, look, I'm not a Muslim. I've accepted that I'm not a Muslim. But you can't just assume that it's like me being a Buddhist and waking up tomorrow and say, well, I'm a Muslim now. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. And to the other Muslim brothers, if you've got anything that you really think that I've said wrong there, I'll only be too happy to be enlightened. And I want to make this point as well. I do not hate Muslims. My son is a Muslim. My mum is a Muslim. My father, well, he's not a really good Muslim, but he's Muslim. Do you understand me? So enough of this hate. Yeah, you're mad. You hate Islam. You know what? It really makes no difference to me. It's an ideology, and that's basically it. And to be honest with you, I seek comfort in knowing that people find solace in that as well. So that's all I need to say. And if there's anyone that wants to correct me, I'll be more than happy to learn from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I don't even know. Where's Raza gone? Okay. Raza's gone. I think he knew that Speaker's Corner UK was about to get it in, so he kind of ran away. I'm joking, by the way.
I'm sure he'll come back.
Did you want to say something now, Rob?
I'll just say to the panel, and I'm sure he can respond at some point. I hear this claim about this Muslim claim about presumably they believe God is omniscient, meaning he knows all things, past, present, and future. He knows everything we're going to do, and we cannot do something that he does not know about. So that's possible. either we've got some kind of free will that Muslims believe in, or if we don't have free will, it's either a case of we have free will and God is not omniscient, or God is omniscient and we don't have free will. In the Muslim case, I'm not talking about Christianity, and there's various other ways but this claim that God is not forcing them to do it. In a sense he is, but that's the wrong word. And so, and Raza uses that same word as well. It's like it's like saying how tall is shoes. The claim that he's making is not grammatically correct. Think of it this way: what God is in fact doing, if they're claiming that he's omniscient, is that there's invisible strings and we just do not know it. Here's the way I will say it to Muslims: God knows that free will is an illusion. That's all I need from them, is to acknowledge that God knows that free will is an illusion, not that we know it. Because of course we're not omniscient. We don't know what's going to happen next. In fact, none of us know what's going to happen next. You do not know the next thoughts that are going to come into your head, and that's pretty well subscribed in neurobiology. But if God knows everything, then he knows that what we think is free will is an illusion. That's what I want them to accept. And once they accept that claim, then the claim about judgment and punishment becomes even more coherent and irrational than I think it already is, because now he knows that this is just a game, and he's already. And we just don't know that we're going down the maze, but he has put together all the molecules in the universe that is gently guiding us in this way. So using force is the wrong word, and that's like they're trying to get out of jail, and it's not going to save them. So what we need to do is just get them to acknowledge that, from God's point of view, our free will, or the free will that Muslims claim, is an illusion. Once they do that, then they're in big trouble.
Rob, with all due respect, right, you're not a theologian, and you're setting it out as if you've answered the big questions, as if you know it. This is a very deep and complicated issue, and it's not black and white as you think it is.
That's why I made it very clear that this is the Muslim claim. I'm well aware that theologians have dreamt up all other ways to skirt around this issue, and I'm not addressing those. I'm addressing specifically the Muslim claim of omniscience and free will, and the fact that they use, hey, he's not forcing you. That's what I'm addressing. If there's other ways that they're trying to get around that, then we can look at other ways. And I've heard some other ways, but that's not what Muslims claim. And so I'm only addressing this Muslim claim, the very generic paradox claim, not other fanciful claims.
All right. Let me get Gabs. Are you here? Are you here with us?
Yo.
Yeah. All right, my brother. You know, this might take the show into its second breath. So before I continue, I'm just gonna say I might cut the show from here and cut this show onwards into a second show. So let me just quickly do a quick intro, just in case I do it and the show runs over. So let me do this. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I got my brother Gabs here in the building with me, Megatron, Nothingness, brother Rob from Speakers Corner UK, Terry's in the building, Buddha Bing is in the building, and of course, my Hebrew Israelite brother Ian and Hassan, Sugar, and my Australian brother as well, Jay Nish. So let's get it. Gabs, you're with us right now, and I know you got some words. So let me hear what you got to say, King.
Yo, what's popping? What's happening? Peace to everyone in the chat room. It's been a good dialogue. I've been tuning up. Peace to everyone in the chat and the panel. Yeah, boy. Okay, so basically, I just seen a video. The brother Kalam messaged me, and my mom called me. I just seen a video. Speakers Corner. I had a nice little discussion with brother Shamsi, and all I'm gonna say is I didn't want to do it, but Shamsi drew me out. He drew me out. It was a good dialogue with the brother.
Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Come on, branches. Branches, don't do it. It's the element of surprise.
Slightly, I didn't want to do it, but the brother obviously they did a video of me. They posted it up, even though the brothers did say that it wasn't being recorded because some